Let me try that again. I'm 2. Welcome to the stream. I forgot to unmute my mic. What you just heard was Summit by Velo. And that's available on ArgoFox at argofox.com or youtube.com/argofox. The link was on the screen, now it's not, so you can rewind or be SOL. But it was there. That's royalty-free music for streamers. My original version of the intro was a lot smoother. You'll just have to trust me on that. Kristen heard it. You can ask her, it was much nicer. I didn't really use YouTube as a creator that far back, so no, I don't actually remember that. Last we left off, the masked man was about to kill his best friend. Who knows how much or how little of Alvaro there is left behind that mask. I believe we got ourselves all set up. I wonder which of these people Alvaro's going to turn on. Obviously Zacharias. He's going to kill Zacharias. I wonder who's going to side with Zacharias out of Victor and David, as opposed to siding with the masked man. Like, I'm legitimately curious. And yeah, I knew it. We started dropping frames as soon as I started actually streaming. I ran a 30-minute test and lost nothing. This is insane and frustrating and awful. Let's push through it and hope it doesn't get bad.
They arrived at a massive ancient structure. If the stories were to be believed, this magnificent temple was the gateway to untold wealth and power.
That ivory flintlock. Couldn't really see it because it was covered up by an achievement. Holy musket. Weird monocle. Oh, okay, it actually took his equipment off. So that's fun. Oh, does anyone want the holy musket? Honestly, it's generally just a better gun than this shotgun, so we'll put it here. The relic. Stun bomb, vitality elixir, lucky coin. Got the doomsday watch. Thought off cobra. Heavy pepper box. Engage. Golden Derringer, Navy gun. Deadly Derringer. Alright. Take a look here. We actually have some royal flushes available. I think this is a decent setup as it is, though. And we shall proceed to combat.
As they walked up the incredibly long stairs, Vasquez wondered what reward awaited him.
Horrified, Zacharias finally understood Vasquez's intentions. He would stop him or die trying.
Well then. I guess the other two both decided to side with Alvaro. I'm a little surprised that neither of them turned on him. They are both crooks, though. So I guess it makes some sense that they'd go where the money is. Alright, O'Connell. How are we supposed to flank this? Ridiculous. We are gonna have to flank it, though. Otherwise, if we don't have someone on each side, we're screwed. Alright. If we send O'Connell to this side and send the other two over here, I think that should be doable. I'm not sure I learned anything in high school, even after, or even during freshman year. They were teaching stuff that, where I'm from, is like 3rd and 4th grade level stuff. Oh, nice. Nice angle, I guess. Good stuff. Alright, it's flanking time. Yeah, I had 2 years of Spanish and I can barely speak a word of it. I had an exceptionally terrible teacher, I'll tell you that. She was... You remember Peggy Hill from King of the Hill? Our high school Spanish teacher was basically that. Me llamo as Peggy Hill. This is a long ass turn. There must be a bunch of dudes I can't see. On the other hand, here's a dude I can see. Oh, come on. That's bullshit. Not bullshit. It's how the game works. That's not gonna keep me from saying it, though. Perfect. Full cover, of course. Yeah, everyone there is in full cover from him currently. Alright, I can duck behind here. That might help. Can't really get into a decent position and shoot, so we're gonna have to sacrifice a turn for that. Good. Yeah, just stand out in the open. I like that. Basically my favorite thing for my enemies to do. Just stand out in the open and do nothing. Alright, if he moves in here. He should be able to fire on this guy with impunity. And I was correct. Although aim isn't very good still. Fortunately, that guy has not a lot of luck anymore. This repeater rifle not killing in one hit is very annoying. What can you do? 77 accuracy versus 59 accuracy. Or I can just move closer and that should actually improve things a fair bit. Ah, and it reveals another fella. There we are. No, he's not in your line of sight, is he? Not gonna be able to flank him without leaving cover, so I gotta wait and see what he's gonna do. That's fine. Suppose I should have realized that someone would be able to see him past that. That guy just grunted at me. Or grunted in general, I suppose. You need to reload at least one of your guns. Did I get a reaction shot? It doesn't look like it. I know sometimes it just doesn't show up correctly, so. I always have a hard time deciding if I should risk it. Here, back off here for a second. Yeah, you certainly have a reaction shot. Not much cover I can use, is there? Not good cover. That's gonna put him in partial cover because he's in a clever spot. Clever girl. I guess we're just gonna have to keep shooting at him. Whittle him down. Damn. There's a few safe places I can probably go, but they're gonna take 2 turns and leave someone open. You're not gonna get a reaction shot on him? It must depend on my heat, huh? Like, I know I've had like 10 other ideas as to why reaction shots work sometimes and not others, but this one seems legit, just like the others did. Let's try it. I can always restart. Yeah, it's gotta count something about my heat. Let's just take this guy out like now. Ah, good stuff, good stuff. Slightly less good stuff. I can auto kill one of them with shadow kill. My accuracy look like there's 60. I can also auto kill someone with golden bullets. Shadow kill seems like a very decent way of doing things, though. Trying to understand this game, but you can't figure out what genre. Yeah, it's an SRPG. It's got a little less RPG than S, but it's definitely a cover-based, turn-based strategy game. All right, let's shadow kill. How much does golden bullet actually cost? Less? Huh. We'll use up ammo though. You know what? This is fine. It doesn't really matter which one I use. Oh, you're dead. Move up here then. Oh man, there's a lot of them in there. Alright, so that means if I move you here, I can start my flanking maneuvers. Because they are boxed in like fucking crazy. XCOM's a pretty good game. It's maybe a little simplified compared to the original, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. The original is very hard to get into. Yeah, your heat's too high for that too. If I'd known how heat worked, which you'd think I'd have to by this point, but I didn't. There we go, instant kill. I would have switched who was going which direction. Slide over here, you can get a flanking shot off on this fella. Ugh, damn it. Alright, Alvaro, you go over here then. Take a shot at this guy. Oh. Yeah, the accuracy stuff technically evens out, so it's technically perfectly fair, but it'll even out by being like, you'll miss 20 times on 95 and then the aliens will hit on 5. Or vice versa sometimes. It's kind of ridiculous. It's fair on a technical level. If you think only in precise basic math, it's completely fair. How's that? Of course you're hiding. Oh, there's no way to get a good shot on Zacharias from over here. He's picked a good spot. let's start just taking out their luck with the repeater pistol. It's all good. One by one. Oh. Good shot. Nothing personnel. There are some weird choices for spots to put ricochet objects on this map. Not quite close enough to do what I want. That's fine. Efficient luck, right. They don't want to make it too easy, what with Ricochet being kinda OP. That's true. Although I can actually Ricochet here into our pal.
Zacharias was dead. Vasquez smiled. Surely the forces inhabiting the temple would accept this sacrifice. It was time to pass through the gate and fulfill his destiny.
That was anticlimactic. Oh, there's more. Alright, I guess I have to clear everyone out and push into the temple. Vasquez must enter the city. Okay, I still don't have to kill everyone. This is gonna be a tough flank regardless. Could be worse. Don't I have to kill every living soul here? I mean, it's tempting. Certainly tempting. There we go. Noise bombed. At least we're only losing frames in little spurts. It's still not a good thing, but it's a less terrible thing. Ah, see, you won't be able to take a reaction shot from there. Perfect. You kill the one guy who can hit you with impunity. Nasty. Golden bullets on this guy, because I don't like him. I mean, that's as good a reason as any, right? To waste one of the most powerful attacks in the game. Don't need to ricochet. Same accuracy either way. Excellent. Anyone else gonna try and block my way? Doesn't look like it. Ain't no one gonna break my stride. Everyone reload in case we get thrown back into another fight immediately. Here we are.
Smiling and relaxed, the Antichrist emerged from the temple. His teeth glinted in the red star's baleful light, and a spark danced in his eyes. This was his world now.
Achievement unlocked. Everlasting fame and fortune. Well then. So, after all that, his ending, the ending to the actual character is kind of disappointing, isn't it? He just gets mowed down. Oh well. We've got 2 more campaigns to go in the main Hard West pre-DLC. We got On Earth as It Is in Hell, the finish to Warren's campaign, and we've got the finish to the side story, A Matter of Time, starring Cassandra, the psychic. So what do you guys think? We finish up with Warren, or we see what Cassandra is all about? You think Cassandra save Warren for last? It's reasonable. Combat injuries, of course, turned on. Makes things more
The Grand
interesting.
Inquisitor destroyed the secret order, hunted down and killed every last member, all to prove his allegiance. There was only one loose end, now running for her dear life. Cassandra. And although his henchmen quickly caught up, she had a trick up her sleeve. Cassandra could see the future, and that wasn't the day she would die.
The crowd jeered. The noose loomed closer. She didn't lose hope.
2 men would save Cassandra and set her free. But first, they needed to distract the mob.
Now, Andrew Harden and Paco. I don't think we've met either of these two. We got pretty boy Andrew Harden here, and then we got awesome Paco. Look at this cool ass motherfucker right here. Alright, we're in stealth mode. We can't exit the building without attracting. Oh, we've got to go out the back. There's a door here, duh. Alright, stop the execution. So I guess we gotta get up there somehow without attracting too much attention. Oh, there is no way through this without getting someone's attention. Interesting. Paco's pistol has just 1 barrel, but he does have the Borgen rifle. It's as effective as popular lever-action rifles, but twice as intimidating. Alright, we're going to have to hold up one of these 2 guys. Not quite close enough to subdue. Suspicious, yeah. That gives him 4 turns before he starts fucking with us. We can delay that, have Paco hold him up. Now it's down to 3 turns because we walked through that. It's fine. Angry peasant. Stick him up. Alright, we're just gonna have to dash up here. Could throw a nail bomb into the crowd. That could be fun. That does enough damage to basically kill all of them. Keep him subdued. Climb up here. Uh-oh, they're becoming suspicious. Fix that. And sec. Is Paco ready? Yes, Paco's ready to go.
Before the life left the hangman's eyes, Cassandra had already loosened her binds.
Alright, now let's throw a nail bomb into the crowd. Hey, it worked. Good stuff. Oh, we're losing about 30 frames at a time, just every 15 minutes or so. It's a lot better than we have been doing.
Cassandra didn't know the names of her saviors, but there was no time for introductions. The men who wanted her dead needed to be dealt with. Neither they nor their carrier pigeons could leave that town alive.
Kill the carrier pigeons. Ah, shit. I don't want to kill the carrier pigeons. I like pigeons. Ah, crap. He can't go far enough. Uh, 39. Well, I'm in a shitty position right now. I may actually have to start this one over simply because of that. Find out. Alright, so far so good. Ah, okay, he can actually move further now. This is good. Because if he'd stood up there, he would have just died. But she was just blocking the ladder. Alright. No reaction shot. No ammo. Bloody hell. Why do I keep making that mistake? I suppose that's the idea, though. Alright, if we can...
There was a back door, but it required a key. The key had to be somewhere nearby.
Find the key to the backyard. That's all the way over here. That's fine. All right, you can see him. Good stuff. Fuckers. Alright, just move on over to that key. Generally fulfilling optional objectives or doing things in a particular way that's suggested by the dialogue gets you extra cards, which can be used to give yourselves extra stats and abilities in future fights. Yeah, it's a good system. Make poker hands. There we go. This is going very well so far. Open the backyard passage. Optional. That we can do optionally. Yes, it is actually one of my favorite perk systems out there, even if it really is just a nicely dressed equipment system. It's dressed very, very cool. I'm sure I could have said that in a less awkward way. But if it was, it's me we're talking about. Awkward is my middle name. Anyone over here? No? Nobody? Interesting. Get a good view. No, no one over here. I guess that's the idea. I don't have to kill everyone if I go around this way. Alright, push in. Ah, found someone. Me finding them was their mistake, I suppose. Ah. Ah, there's one good hit at least. Okay.
The rallies turned out to be something more than just corrupt lawmen.
You noticed. Oh, they did work for Cervantes. We are in the nightmare. If you ever wondered what a Silent Hill SRPG would be like, mechanically it might be like this. Oh, you missed. There we go, 100%.
The birds were no more, but the Inquisitor's men still posed a threat.
Bloody hell. Alright, move up to the window. Good. 55. 35. Good lord. Now do it right. Ah, take that, jerk. Oh. Even so, 65 luck's nothing to sneeze at. Alright, I think we're down to just the one now. We're gonna have to go up after him, it looks like, though. Oh, hi. You're not upstairs anymore. Nope and out of there. This is fine. .jpg. Ooh, how about this? How about you just go in and execute him?
With their
Draw,
adversaries
partner.
dead, there was no one left to bear witness to what happened that day.
Mission complete.
Cassandra's gift was as much a boon as a curse. While undoubtedly useful, the pain associated with it was unbearable.
Yeah, I'm pretty fond of
The
them
two
so
men
far.
introduced themselves as servants of the Protector. Their employer was a friend of the order Cassandra once belonged to. The
Interesting.
Protector offered shelter and whatever help Cassandra required. She didn't want shelter. She wanted to rid herself of her gift. Hardin assured her the Protector could help her with that as well. But to reach him, they would need to cross a river and sail across a bay.
Well, time to go see the ferryman. You know, in a game about death and demons, you really don't... Okay, we've got a precognition meter. In a game about death and demons, you really don't want to visit the ferryman.
Hardin led Cassandra to the ferry that he and Paco had used to cross the river from the west. The stench of death was everywhere. The ferry itself was no more, and neither was the ferryman. Someone had butchered him and strewn his body all across the riverbank. They wouldn't be crossing here anytime soon.
Somebody carved the word arrepiéntete
Into the ferryman's chest. Cassandra knew this could only be the work of Joaquim Perez, the Inquisitor's mad dog.
Remember Joaquim Perez?
Meanwhile, Hardin contemplated searching the man's body, or what was left of it.
So should we search the corpse, or let Hardin take whatever he finds on the body? I'm almost thinking that we should be as respectful of the dead as possible in this campaign. I mean, if we're gonna roleplay Cassandra, that's probably the way to go. On the other hand, cool stuff. If anyone was gonna be respectful of the dead, it'd be the precog. That's true, but I'm so tempted by the stuff.
She told Hardin the corpse had suffered enough indignity. He should leave it alone. Reluctantly, Hardin left the body and walked away from the bloody scene. He said they'd need to ask after transport at the local inn. The inn was a peaceful cantina and a rest stop for weary travelers at the edge of the wilderness. Cassandra was filled with foreboding. She knew she'd need to scope out the area and weigh her choices before proceeding.
A local card sharp was dealing 3-card Monty, which of course I can win automatically, right?
Cassandra and Hardin observed the card sharp a while. He said people called him Alonzo the Lizard and invited them to play a hand. Cassandra felt the familiar vibrations of a dawning premonition. Hardin was cracking his knuckles, smiling too widely at the shady dealer. Cassandra suspected he was up to no good, but wasn't sure she wanted trouble.
Shall we join the game, letting the premonition guide us, or we could see Hardin was itching to rough up the dealer, so she let him do as he wanted, or we leave him alone? If you're going to be able to see the future and you don't use it to cheat at cards, I don't know what we're doing here.
Cassandra made a show of her apparent distress.
Precognition has exhausted Cassandra to restore power, rest, or visit other locations. Ah, interesting.
Cassandra made a show of her apparent distress and desperation, pretending to fret before betting all of her belongings. When her premonition guided her to the correct card, the dealer was so surprised he didn't even protest. Cassandra walked away significantly richer. Cassandra's premonition had cost her, however. She was exhausted and would not be able to use her abilities until she had rested, or at least taken in a generous helping of fresh air.
Let's get a room then.
Even though the room was ridiculously expensive, it was nevertheless filthy. But a few hours' nap lifted Cassandra's spirit and allowed her to recuperate from the strains of clairvoyance. The locals told Cassandra the nearest official river crossing was in Yuma, Arizona. Unfortunately, the weekly train to Yuma left earlier that day at 3:10. If she wanted to go earlier, she'd have to find someone with a boat willing to take her. They allowed as the best place to find someone with a boat would be down at the riverbank campsite.
That is some ancient grammar. We got gas bombs, mandrake powder, pepper box, musket. Oh, those muskets are always good to have on hand. Let's grab one of them. Pretend to Yuma is an alright movie. Got the Black Joker. Nothing, no ability on its own, but it does confer some decent stats. Alright, let's head down to the riverbank.
Cassandra and her companions spent hours walking the banks of the river but found nothing. Cassandra shed a few tears of hopelessness, which led her to another premonition. She took a deep breath and explored the vision. Images flashed before her eyes. She saw a dark, unlit boat crossing the river in silence. She looked at the night sky above the boat and made out the North Star. Though the vision was over as soon as it appeared, Cassandra knew she could pinpoint the boat's location. A clandestine, low-profile smuggler's boat was beached on the shore. Smugglers had set up a camp in a nearby cave. Hardin said they should be careful not to leave any witnesses. Cassandra was worried that if they killed the smugglers, their bodies would attract the attention of the Inquisitor's chief manhunter, Joaquin Perez. Hardin said killing the smugglers before stealing their property was still safer.
Commandeer the boat without raising the alarm, or silently murder the smugglers, then steal their boat. Let's... Well, we don't have a premonition ready, and we can't just duck out. So, steal the boat and try to get away, or kill everyone as quietly as possible before taking the boat. I mean, following the pattern of the game, killing everyone is probably the safest bet. You don't think Cassandra's seen enough of the killing? I mean, the killing's not gonna end regardless of what I do here. I think we're gonna kill the smugglers for this one.
Cassandra and her allies ambushed the smugglers in their sleep, slitting their throats quickly and quietly. The dead may not speak, but their bodies surely attracted attention. The team set out towards Hardin's swamp hideout.
King of Spades received.
Hardin led Cassandra, and we've got the Fate Trader and a hospital, and the rest of the party into the thick swamps that lined the mouth of the river. Amidst the lush greenery was an artificial island. Hardin said it had been built long ago by a now extinct native civilization, and that he had taken it over as a spot to stockpile supplies. Hardin moored their boat on the island and began filling the hold with useful items. He explained they could proceed to the Protector's Island whenever Cassandra was ready.
Well, let's see what we got around here. Check out the hospital or the Fate Trader, and that's about it.
The only hospital in the region was housed in a Catholic mission and staffed by nuns. The Mother Superior greeted Cassandra and her companions warily, but told them she could tend their wounds as required. The Mother Superior explained that the only medication she had in large supply was a powerful laxative potion. She handed over a tall green bottle with a label that promised its contents induced instant intestinal alacrity.
Why not?
With a weary sigh, the Mother Superior asked whether they required anything else.
Well, that's gonna be hilarious.
The team found a lone drifter's encampment. After a short conversation, he revealed that he dealt in unique trinkets collected from all over the land.
We will not have enough money to get anything useful from him right now.
Cassandra and her team rowed back to Isla Toloacoyan.
No idea if I'm pronouncing that right.
The smuggler cutter awaited Cassandra's orders. In the thin light of early dawn, a sudden explosion rocked the island. As pieces of the smuggler cutter rained down around them, Cassandra made out the silhouettes of several boats headed towards the island. The Inquisitor had found her. The team grabbed their weapons and prepared for a fight. Alright, we got the King of Spades, adds barrage. Shoots all enemies in sight in sequence. Not useful for someone with single ammo weapons. Very useful for someone with stuff with weapons with lots of ammo. Joaquim Perez and the rest of the Inquisitor's hunters landed on the island. Cassandra and her companions scrambled to defend themselves.
The Inquisitor's men had destroyed their means of escape. Their only hope was to seize an enemy boat and eliminate the other enemy vessel, lest they give chase. The supplies from the island could be useful, but freedom came first.
Gather supplies, optional. Lift the bridge to cut off enemies, optional. Alright, so we're gonna be making our way around. Gotta send at least 2 people around this way. Lift this bridge. Gonna be interesting. We gotta get all of these. Lift the bridge and then move over to the boats. This is gonna be a mad dash. This is not going to be as simple. I'm not gonna say what the difficulty is gonna be like, but it's not gonna be as simple as a lot of these have been. They're definitely throwing some more curveballs at us. They're all covered. Nice shot, Chungus.
Lifting the bridge trapped the enemies on the other side.
Shit.
But it also separated Cassandra and her.
Did not even occur to me that I'm supposed to get the supplies
The
first.
Inquisitor's men had destroyed their means of escape. Their only hope was to seize an enemy boat and eliminate the other enemy vessel, lest they give chase.
Alright, so what we
The
gotta do
supplies
is
from
send
the
at least
island
one
could be
person over
useful,
here.
but freedom came first.
Alright, same basic stuff. Same basic moves, except we're not going to pull that lever right away. We're just going to move in, gather the supplies as quickly as possible, using all 3 bodies. Nice shot, Chungus. And then we need to retreat out of that area and pull the lever when no one's on the other side. Alright, make a dash. Oh, well that was a bad idea. Caution? The fuck is caution? Well, hopefully her capped out luck means she won't be instantly slaughtered. Or that guy'll just run away instead of... Oh. Apparently he hadn't loaded his gun yet.
Very nice. I mean, it works out in my favor. What's up? You're not gonna like this, friend. There we go. Looking sharp. You don't have a hard time limit, at least. So mostly I'm just worrying about getting through this alive. There's some Chunguses. Chungosaurus Rex over here. Alright, take cover. Derringer, no, Derringer's not going to be able to kill either of them. Perfect. Chungles, Chungapods, perhaps. Alright, what if you start going around the other side? Hey there, Bad Road. Hey there, B. You both arrived together, I see. So I'm gonna put 6 feet of dirt under you, and then you'll be 6 feet up in the air, won't you? And how to get yourself out of that situation? Well, I'll climb down because I'm almost 6 feet tall. Chungles does sound like a ill-advised name for a brand of prongles. I said prongles, which was gonna be part of my joke. Once you pop, that's great. I mean, I'm not that tall. I'm 5'9". Original prongles. Once you pop, that's great. Probably one of my favorite viral marketing campaigns ever. Alright, you actually need to reload before you do anything. I'm almost 5 feet tall. I mean, I'm 5'9". I think that's more than 5 feet tall. There's a nice solid hit in cover. Just don't try and jump a full 11 feet, because that'll break your damn legs. Amazing how fragile people are. 9. Ugh, not good enough. Oh, we'll take the shot anyway. The less luck they've got, the better. I can't really take cover from this guy. He's in a good position. What I'm gonna have to do is just... Oh, that's not gonna work either. Fuck it. Take the shots for now. Yeah, I knew he was gonna freak out. I could jump a foot and then roll your ankles and have a hard time walking for a few days. Oh, that sounds like a blast. Not sure how high the bleachers in your high school gym were, but jumping down from them was a bad idea. Not broken leg, bad idea, but maybe I shouldn't have done that, bad idea. I mean, those are generally the good kinds of bad ideas, you know, as bad ideas go. Because at least you don't fucking die from it. And you learn your damn lesson. Jesus, really? Did not think you would have cover because I'd be able to poke out this way. There we are. And... ooh, will this help? Only slightly. Oh my god! Oh, that sucks. Oh, I'm taking way more damage than I really want to. There's just not much cover over here. I guess that's the idea though, risk and reward.
Joaquin Perez would never dog Cassandra again.
Oh, that was Joaquin. No wonder he was so tough. Stupid mini-bosses. Perfect. Now collect the supplies, maybe use some healing items, and let's get the hell out of here. Maybe I shouldn't have done that. Sounds like post-Chinese buffet you. I have not watched any of E3. Because generally speaking, it's kind of embarrassing to watch these post-middle-aged men make asses of themselves. Alright, let's back out of here. Dose of opium. Damn, I thought he had a healing item. Well, we can at least improve his HP. Oh, wow, that's more than I thought that did. I'll move a little slower. He'll droop a little lower. Opium. Opium. In the end, he'll feel no pain. Prepare to watch a wrap-up so you can know what kind of AAA titles you can look forward to ignoring in the next year. I mean, they delayed Monster Hunter World so long that I'm not even interested in it anymore. Is that sad? They said it was gonna... They originally said it was definitely gonna release alongside the console version. And then it didn't, and now, just tangentially, I've seen all the content. Not even particularly intending to watch Monster Hunter World streams. It just ends up coming up and happening. Like, it's pointless for me to get it now. And I don't say that about really good games. You know, the ones where after you see them, you still want to play them. Monster Hunter World's kinda... There's not much to it beyond what there was to previous Monster Hunter titles. It's not what they promised. Couldn't even see him and he shot him. How good he is. Played too many Kingdom Hearts games to not get 3. 3's not gonna come out, you know that. It doesn't matter how many times they announce it, it's not gonna happen. We've known this for years. Console exclusive games are games that end up being marketed to sell a platform. That's very true. Dora, Donald, and Goofy talking to Elsa. Well, sure, you know, they've put some work into it, but they'll give up halfway through. Oh shit, did I seriously forget to? I did. Alright, run back and get it. That's fine. Release either boat onto the lake. Alright. I mean, I gotta see if there's a Vita emulator, because there's some games that no one's ever played on there. Literally no one, because no one has ever actually seen a PS Vita. As far as we know, they may not even exist as an actual piece of hardware. You own a PlayStation Vita. What else do you own? A leprechaun? Sue, you can't own a leprechaun. I've had a PSP 1000, 2000, and 3000. I was never particularly impressed with any of them because I already had pocket PCs and such. So even after hacking a PSP, it was basically an extremely limited pocket PC. But it was fairly cheap, so I suppose there was that. Yeah, I could ricochet for 24% accuracy against full cover. What a great idea. UMDs, yeah, those things were slow as hell. They were basically tiny laser discs as far as how they looked. They actually tried to push UMD as like the new universal media format. I mean, that's why they called them universal media discs. Which everyone, I think, realized was ridiculous. Eh, shit. You're in a bad spot. You've suffered a terrible fate, haven't you? I'm sure someone's created a UMD drive that would work with a PC. Fuck. It's really hard to get into a position where I can shoot these guys without getting myself killed. We're gonna have to go around this way, I guess. Fucking hell. Alright, no one's got line of sight on him from this direction. Let's try that. Hey, look at that, I hit him. People like hacking Nintendo consoles anymore that die with the Wii. They've made progress on the Wii U. Not as much progress as I might like, but you can play backups and it's got some limited homebrew capability. Can't play all backups, mind you. But you can play backups. Switch has been broke. Oh wow, that's good to hear. And surprisingly fast. There we are. Ugh, no good spot for him to hide, huh? Maybe right here? That would require a very specific line of sight at least. Oh, well. That works out.
The first boat drifted away from the island. They needed to reach that last one.
Oh, we actually have to knock both off. How disappointing. I don't know how we're gonna get there without getting our asses killed. This is rough. So I guess that's why it's the final campaign. Well, one of the two final campaigns. It exploits a hardware bug that can't be fixed. Well, it could be fixed in future iterations of the hardware. But it can't be patched. So that's good for us. Yes, we don't officially condone anything. We don't officially condone any crimes on this stream. Or unofficially. We don't condone it verbally. At all. No crimes. Alright, we've got to find a way over to... Aha! The fuck out of here. Not enough luck, eh? Yeah, you better run. There's not any good cover over here. Never a good sign. Worth a shot, as it were. There we go. Anytime I talk about crimes, it's a joke, if you get what I mean. Exactly, if you get what I mean. We're just making reference to Lego City Undercover. Alright, we're almost home. Yeah, this guy's gonna take a shot. A miss, but a shot nonetheless.
The final boat was within reach, and any stragglers would be left behind.
Mission complete. A miss or a mister? How about a mix? Is there like a Switch compatible build of Android already? That'd be something. Cassandra's gift. Okay, we've already read that.
Ricardo La Fortuna was the Protector's most dangerous rival.
Good
His
stuff.
fleets blockaded their ultimate destination. Any vessel that attempted to get by would be blasted out of the water.
Got Joaquim's gun
Cassandra
available.
wondered if La Fortuna could be persuaded to let them pass. Hardin told her about a grand poker tournament that La Fortuna was hosting. Joining the game would require a 25,000 peso buy-in.
You can dual boot. Wow. That's pretty cool. Alright, we've got to attend La Fortuna's poker tournament. But first we need the $25,000 buy-in, or peso buy-in. Which I have no idea what pesos would have been worth at this point in time. Alright, we've got the 10 of diamonds. And the Queen of Diamonds. There we go. Dried healing herbs. Absolutely need everyone to have healing items. I am so glad we have the Cañón Calvera. That is a very damn decent gun. It'll certainly make a good replacement for that Derringer. It's a nail bomb on her. Alright. Yeah, getting those supplies was definitely worthwhile. Look at all that cash. Alright, we've got an army fort. We've got a gambling den. We've got the pilgrimage. And we've got Hacienda Garcia Pimentel. Alright, where are we going? Where y'all think we should go? We've got all these areas to hit. Got the gambling den, I guess is, and we got Adelante, and we can't go to the gambling den yet because we need the 25,000 peso buy-in. Got the Mexican Army fort, this house, and a pilgrimage site. I have been to the hospital. I got a laxative from them. I'm sure that will be useful later. I'm gonna check out this house. Matron Pulqueria Adamira Garcia Pimentel was one of the last of the vulnerable Garcia Pimentel clan, venerable, which had flourished in the New World for hundreds of years. Now the family was a shadow of its former glory, but the Garcia Pimentel Library remained the greatest and most complete collection of works detailing the New World and the rise of Mexico. Madame Garcia Pimentel jovially greeted Lydia as Cassandra had introduced herself, and guessed she was here to see the fabled library. Cassandra confirmed that she was, though she had little idea of the contents or usefulness of the library. The matron nodded and led them inside. There they were joined by a scrawny figure in clothes that had once been very fine but were clearly showing their wear. Matron Garcia Pimentel said this was her son, Porfirio, and that he would be their guide to the library. Cassandra curtsied, taking a closer look at the young man. On top of a hunched, scrawny body sat a large head with a bulging lump in the middle of his forehead. The skin was mottled and unnatural looking. He inclined his head slightly at all times. She suppressed a shiver. As they walked into the library, Porfirio told Cassandra about the various landmarks in the area, spouting an endless stream of historical facts, interrupted only by his slight stutter. Although at first he seemed consumed by his study of history, Cassandra soon realized his trembling hands, darting eyes, and blush meant something completely different. He was attempting to court her. In another context, it might have been endearing, but she was unsettled by the cold lump she felt in her stomach. Porfirio broke her reflections, asking whether there was anything in particular she'd like to hear about. She pretended to be interested in whatever he deemed worthy of attention. According to Porfirio, the Calaca Shrine was the crown jewel of the area's historical attractions. Believed to have been built long before the first Europeans set foot in the New World, it contains several painted skull sculptures,
called Calacas that inexplicably bore ancient Christian symbols, fish, crosses, and various three-cornered ornaments. The shrine was considered by many as the ultimate confirmation that Christianity was the world's one true religion. There had been a minor military struggle over who controlled it, with the winner doing their utmost to camouflage its position. When they met their downfall, however, its precise location was lost to history. At this last sentence, Porfirio's deformed lips twisted in what Cassandra interpreted as the approximation of a smile. She guessed aloud that he knew so much, she was sure he must know the location. The young man looked away shyly. When Cassandra pressed, he nodded his deformed head in confirmation. He said he would tell Cassandra the location in exchange for a kiss. We can fight our revulsion, bringing herself to lay a gentle kiss where a person's cheek would be. Caress his cheek and flutter her eyelashes. She promised she would do it so long as he told her first, or offended, she refused in the bluntest of terms. Think of it as using her looks and demeanor to her advantage. Or, well, not. And the former she can do in a slightly more or less honest way. Coercion isn't cool, kids. It's not at the point of coercion yet, because they both think they're in control. At this point, it's just a couple of shitty people. I suppose it's bribery at this point. A business deal. Get the info with the flattery and juke. Alright. Clearly not used to being treated this way, Porfirio blinked a couple of times, then went to his desk and produced a detailed map of the area from one of its drawers. He then pointed out the exact location of the shrine to Cassandra, and copied the major landmarks on a piece of paper, which he gave to her. Then he closed his eyes and presented his lips for a kiss. Well, we're literally at a point where we can either give him a kiss or make an enemy. Alright. I think we'll hold up our end of the bargain in this case. Let's not be... It's a bad situation all around. As soon as her lips touched his, he grabbed her head and forced his tongue into her mouth. She jerked her head back, breaking the kiss, and backhanded him to the floor. That's probably better than killing him. He smiled a sheepish, contented smile at her, then motioned back to the hall where the rest of her companions were waiting. She was happy to get out of this place as quickly as she could. Cassandra's heart sunk when she reached the foyer to find Hardin unconscious on a chaise-longue. Lady Garcia Pimentel explained that she had left the group alone with a bottle of brandy and returned to find him like this. That doesn't sound right. This place is getting creepy. She suggested that Cassandra and her friends stay the night and leave the next morning. Cassandra felt a dawning premonition and allowed herself to focus on it.
She felt a great danger emanating from the Garcia Pimentel house that extended far beyond kissing disfigured men. In a blink, she had a vision of herself in a bridal gown that was slick with blood. She blinked and the feeling passed, leaving a painful throbbing in its place. Cassandra insisted they need to leave immediately. No one stopped them. Nice place, that. Come on, card screen, open up. Nine of Diamonds, transfusion. No one else has a 9, so just keep piling diamonds on Cassandra. Don't have anywhere to sleep immediately, do we? We can... Let's head over to the pilgrimage, shall we? Cassandra and her companions came across a group of people camping out in the wild. They had numerous tents set up, along with carts and horses. There were wooden crosses and ornate incense holders everywhere they looked. A man wearing priest's attire greeted them on behalf of his flock. Said his name was K. Elspas. He explained that he was leading these people on a pilgrimage and that they were currently enjoying a much-needed rest. Cassandra remarked that the beaten paths around the camp suggested they'd been camping there for some time. Elspas winced and admitted in a low voice that Cassandra was right. They weren't resting at all, actually. They were lost. His map had turned out to be inaccurate. He couldn't bring himself to dash the hopes of so many pilgrims by telling them they had to go back. Thus far, he had been able to convince everyone that they were still on the Kalaka Shrine Trail, while he secretly tried to figure out where it was. Now he was losing hope of ever finding it. Cassandra said she might know where it was located. She mentioned that her memory might improve if Elspas unburdened himself by giving her some of his material possessions. Elspas called Cassandra a false prophet and a fraud, and accused her of trying to profit from artifacts of the one true God. By her expression, however, it was clear she had seen right through him. He instantly calmed down, admitting in a low voice that he had scammed the pilgrims into funding his expedition here. He offered $8,000 for the location of the shrine, 8,000 pesos for the location of the shrine. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty decent. K.L. Spas handed her the agreed-upon sum and took the map in his hands, a genuine tear of gratitude in his eye. He walked away, announcing the miracle to his followers. Cassandra left in the opposite direction. Alright, now we've got this Jack of Diamonds, which I just realized is Zacharias. That's wonderful. Also, let's give her a flush. A straight flush, by accident. Plus 1 damage, 1 max HP, all good. Also got Jack of Spades here, which gives courage. Excellent ability, courage. Jack of Diamonds, yeah, there you go. Now we can head to Kalaka Shrine as well. Cassandra and her companions arrived at the location of the fabled Kalaka Shrine. The place had been ravaged by a recent landslide. In place of the entrance was a mess of crumbled rock and masonry. It would not be possible to visit this unique and mysterious place. They tried not to show their disappointment as they left the area. Alright, I guess we'll check out the fort. The team arrived at a Mexican army stronghold in the Western Territory. The terrain was challenging and progress had been slow. They were grateful for the respite. Hardin offered to buddy up with the grunts. He said he'd see what they knew and maybe win some of their money. Cassandra nodded and said she would see what she could learn from the commander. Or we can have Hardin come with her. Which might be safer because Cassandra doesn't really know how to defend herself all that well. Back from a minor inconvenience that is a lack of household electricity. Oh, that's no fun. We've been in that situation before. It's okay, I've been resisting saying Cloaca Shrine as well. Let's have Cassandra go without Hardin for now. Commander Alberto J. Barbola. Alberto J. Barboya Barahueco greeted Cassandra gallantly and offered refreshments. He excused his humble surroundings, explaining that order was maintained in this region by the private militias of wealthy industrialists such as Ricardo La Fortuna. Consequently, the Mexican military had only a minor presence in the area. Cassandra asked how it was possible for someone like La Fortuna to blockade his competitor's assets, or rumbling noises and jeering voices from outside caught the commander's attention. Let's ask this one first. The commander told Cassandra that Mr. La Fortuna was a benefactor of the United Mexican States. The government trusted him and gave him many liberties. He explained that the blockade Cassandra had referred to was only a training exercise for his merchant fleet, put on in response to the rise of piracy in the Caribbean. Rumbling noises and jeering voices from outside, however, caught the commander's attention. He got up from his desk and looked through the window. Cassandra joined him. Hardin was quarreling with a soldier. The commander excused himself, leaving Cassandra in the room alone. Search the files or the commander's desk. This is a tough one. We probably only have time to search one or the other. I think information is generally more valuable than minor, well, valuables. However, we might find a really nice gun. You think the desk? Well, yeah, but I was saying the files because that's where we're gonna find knowledge. Do you not want me to have power? Like what we'll find in the desk is probably gonna be a gun and a flask, if I know army commanders. The only thing that is truly important is power. Knowledge is power. Therefore, the only truly important thing is knowledge? Come on up here, Gaston. There, now I've got a Pibble by my side. He sometimes forgets that you're not supposed to dig in the furniture. Lay down, baby. Lay down with me. But what if there's better files in the desk? Alright, anyone else got any input? Otherwise, I'm gonna hit the desk. I will assume that is a no. Cassandra found a small key and used it to unlock the commander's drawers. Along with a collection of letters, a standard issue gun, and some ammunition, she found one truly interesting item, an army requisition form. Would almost certainly prove useful in the future. No one would miss it here. Ah. Cassandra could hear the commander's steps in the corridor. She hastily closed everything and leapt back into her seat. The commander walked in, visibly upset. He explained Hardin had got into trouble playing dice, but that he would overlook it as his soldiers shouldn't have engaged in gambling in the first damn place. Still, he said, Cassandra and her crew should leave immediately and not return. Hardin's bruised countenance told the tale of his gambling adventure with the soldiers. As they left, he told her he had won some money, but more importantly, he'd acquired a pair of loaded dice. In Cassandra's skilled hands, any dice game would now be less of a gamble. Ha 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 ha! And we've got a premonition back. Come on, menus. Stop. Don't be like this. Loaded dice plus 50 max luck. That is huge. Now she's up to 170. And, alright, let's go over to this Adelante. Requisition me a beat. The bustling town of Adelante was full of new buildings and prosperous people. The copious construction work in town was sponsored almost single-handedly by Mr. La Fortuna. For the denizens of the Western Territory, La Fortuna was the embodiment of prosperity and modernity. Got a cantina, a general store, or we can suggest that they find the local brothel. I think Cassandra wants to have a girlfriend for a night. Let's check out the general store first, though. The general store in Adelante offered a modest but adequate selection of goods. I mean, we can afford fucking everything. Ah, these menus are lagging more than usual today. Sell the Derringer, because, well, it's a Derringer. The Navy gun it's good to have at least one of those around. What we've learned so far is that money, knowledge, and guns are all power. Sounds about right. Sandra entered the cantina. She was pleasantly surprised to find that the cantina appeared safe and well run. Cassandra reviewed the latest headlines in search of any mentions of her misadventures. Cassandra's brushes with the law had been minor, it seemed. She found only a small note about one of the events she'd been involved in. Bartender nodded to Cassandra and gestured toward the cantina's offerings. The team returned to the town of Adelante. Cassandra told Hardin they should find the bordello. His eyes lit with an unsavory glow. She admonished him sternly, insisting this was strictly a business outing. Her head was already starting to ache. It was only a matter of time before it dulled with pain for hours or even days. They arrived at the brothel in time to witness a violent quarrel. An older, flamboyantly dressed woman beating an Indian prostitute with a billy club. Cassandra guessed the older woman was the bordello's madam. Hardin stared at the scene, frozen for a moment, agog. An instant later, Hardin rushed at the madam. landing a full-force punch in the middle of her face with a crunch. As she sprawled to the floor, dazed and screaming, Hardin rushed to the native woman, helping her up. She hugged him as she cried, covering him with kisses in a way that suggested they had more than a passing familiarity with one another. Hardin mentioned to Cassandra to get out of sight. She ducked into the nearest back street. Hardin and his native acquaintance joined Cassandra as soon as they could. She wasted no time reprimanding Hardin for attracting the attention of the entire town and doubtless the authorities. Hardin explained that he had no choice. It was his duty to defend Felicia. Apparently, they'd known each other for some time. Cassandra guessed Hardin was one of her regulars. Felicia apologized for the trouble, said that without her job she had nowhere to go. Hardin suggested she could join Cassandra's posse, as she was a good shot and good company. Cassandra knew accepting this woman into the team would attract unwanted attention, but decided to do it anyway. Felicia thanked Cassandra profusely, promised to be a valuable asset to the team. The group returned to the more savory parts of town. Do. Got here. She's got a 6-shooter which can be replaced by our new Navy gun. Hop over to the Fate Trader real quick. Get her an actual good gun and also some healing items. Some of the stuff in this universe would make the best Fallout DLC ever. I mean, it's not too far off from being a similar setting to Fallout 1 and 2. It just needs a nuclear war. Got the old bone hand rifle. You can grab a Doomsday watch, as well as a weird monocle. Got the bone hand rifle. Relic. Alright. Candle of the Dead. May actually be better than the weird monocle. It's only 10 aim. Candle of the Dead is 15. Alright, that looks pretty good. Yes, there's a revolving revolver. It's not the best gun, but you never have to fucking reload it. Oh no, this Doomsday watch is stuck on +2 damage all the time. It's really strange. I was gonna go Candle of the Dead for her. Doomsday watch can go on one of these two. I need to get a new gun for him too at some point, but he's doing okay on his own right now. Doomsday watch can go on Hardin. We went through a lot of trouble to get that Doomsday watch the first time. Had to become a master engineer. Alright, we're gonna have to... Shadow Cloak is excellent for a sniper. As is this +5 aim. Now we could do worse, but we really need more cards for a party this big. I guess we've just got to go over to the gambling den now. Maybe do some dice games. Hardin led Cassandra to the notorious outlaw gambling den. The venue was set up in a cliffside cave in an ancient Indian pueblo. There were no lights on the outside, but Hardin pointed out two guards concealed against the crumbling walls next to the narrow entrance with a thick black curtain. Inside, they found a wide repertoire of gambling tables, an assortment of colorful, dangerous-looking characters, and an ample supply of liquor. Let's join a dice game, shall we? Standing by the game table, Cassandra felt the weight of dice in her hand. Let's replace the dice with the gimmicked pair and hope we don't get killed for it. Cassandra gave a discreet nod to Hardin, who loudly attracted the attention of a player sitting at another table. While all the players' heads were turned, with a swift movement, Cassandra replaced the dice in her hands with the loaded pair. She easily won the round, earning 378 pesos. Well, that's going to be much too slow, so high-stakes poker it is. Ooh, here we go. Cassandra sat within hearing range of a drunken prospector and eavesdropped on his story. The prospector claimed to own a map to the wreck of an old Spanish treasure ship. Hardin dismissed it as bragging, but Cassandra was interested. Her initial attempts were inconclusive. She felt she was already losing her lucky streak. Cassandra saw the man suffer a violent death. It thoroughly distressed her. She obtained no useful information. As the searing pain pierced her brain, she saw the prospector lying dead in an old shipwreck, surrounded by piles of gold. As the vision faded, she managed to recognize a landmark that pinpointed 3 possible locations for the wreck. She came back to reality and nearly collapsed from exhaustion. Well, we've got several shipwrecks we can check out. Is there any place to rest in Adelant? Cassandra asked for a room. There we go, all better. The non-zero amount of these guns that are real guns before best practices really existed in gunsmithery. Although I think the Bone Hand Blaster is a new one. Are you sure? I thought they really made guns that function using magical skeleton arms. Upon leaving Adelant, Cassandra had an unnerving but all too familiar feeling, a powerful premonition that made her headache for days on end. Alright. Her skull blazed with pain as the vision took shape. Cassandra saw a stagecoach loaded with expensive luggage against a gorgeous mountain backdrop. Suddenly, a vulture's cry split the air. She looked up and saw several haggard birds circling overhead. As her premonition faded, she looked around for landmarks. She was positive she could pinpoint the location of the vulture's feet. Alright, let's check it out. Following Cassandra's directions, the party soon arrived at the location of a stagecoach crash. The putrid smell of decay indicated the accident took place several days ago. A flock of vultures feasted on the well-heeled passengers. One of the birds looked up from its feast, fixing the company with a rheumy glare before slowly flapping skyward. Hardin began rummaging through the pockets of the dead, whistling casually, as though we were picking daisies. Cassandra, finding nothing of interest, was begging to regret coming when she spied a thin leather suitcase sitting in the dust. Beginning. Opening the case, she discovered a document written in dark blue ink on thick paper, adorned with official stamps and seals. It appeared to be the deed to a silver mine somewhere in the Rockies. Cassandra pocketed it while her companions rummaged through the rest of the spoil. the stream to your other monitor, and now you can actually read the text. That's good. Alright, we've got derelict shipwreck. Got a lonesome shipwreck and a moldy shipwreck. And we don't know where the silver mine is. The Rockies, so it's probably not here. Lonesome sounds good. On its side in the shallows, the shipwreck looked like a beached whale. Cassandra's team headed inside. They found it filled with dead bodies of its crew and passengers. The air was heavy with the stench of the dead. Cassandra's knew the dangers decomposing bodies presented. Therefore, she opted to give it a wide berth. Wait, we've got that hospital available, so this shouldn't be too big of a problem. Search the cargo holds. Cargo holds were filled with dark, scintillating rocks. Felicia became agitated, saying it was pitch blend, the nausea-inducing, vitality-draining. The natives called curse rock, so it's probably radioactive. She ran out, shouting for the others to do the same. Hardin shouted after Felicia that she was a superstitious coward. She shouted back to Hardin. She shouted back that Hardin was an overbold fool. Cassandra silenced them both and opted to leave the ship. Don't want to take that risk. The ancient wreck of a Spanish galleon sat in a small cove and looked harmless enough. The name on the bow read Amaya Calvo. The air smelled of dried seaweed and molds. Descending into the cargo hold, the team found crates filled with valuables and expensive materials. Much of the treasure had decayed with time. However, a good portion of the silver and gold objects could be salvaged with a significant amount of work. Cassandra decided they needed the money. As the salvage continued, Hardin became wary. He told Cassandra that the longer they stayed, the better chance someone would arrive, perhaps to lay in wait and attack them once they had retrieved the treasure. He suggested retreating with what they had now rather than hope they could get away with everything. Well, whenever anyone says anything like that, it comes true. So I'm with Hardin on this one. Very radioactive? I thought so. 10,000 gold. Wow, that was worthwhile. Cassandra and her companions abandoned the scene, leaving the rest of the loot for others to plunder. What they recovered was only worth a couple thousand pesos, but it was a couple thousand pesos closer to their goal. And we have a 9 of clubs. Hannibal, and HP. Let's stick that on her so she's got more HP. Come on now. And the last shipwreck. On the sharp rocks of the bay sat the decomposing wreck of a caravel, almost entirely disintegrated. Barely make out the name on the side of the ship. Louis 87? Is that right? Ellis 50? Cassandra doubled. Wow, I can read. Cassandra doubted it would yield much. As she descended into the wreck, Hardin stepped on a sea urchin and had to be helped limping to shore. Closer inspection of the wreckage yielded an ivory comb and some gold teeth, worth 100 pesos or so. Arden suggested there might be more valuables at the bottom of the bay, but that obtaining them would mean contending with more dangerous sea fauna. I'm in no diving mood. I don't want to risk one of them just dying going down there. I don't know if either of them can even swim particularly well. That's rough. Cassandra's companion disappeared beneath the sparkling water. After a number of reconnaissance dives, the swimmer submerged for close to a minute before erupting to the surface holding a small ornate chest. Inside, Cassandra found a collection of ivory pieces. They'd be worth at least 1,000 pesos to a collector. Alright, let's go to the hospital and heal that numb leg. That'll make walking difficult. Excellent. Adelant, Fate Trader. Well, I guess let's return to the gambling den, see if anything new's popped up there. Not really. Let's try joining a high-stakes poker table. A group of 4 men were sat at a table, playing poker with a professional-like silence. Cassandra had a feeling they were practicing ahead for the La Fortuna soiree. Cassandra put on a heavy accent and introduced herself as Lydia Morozov. 4 men were Noyan Talkazoglu, a weapons manufacturer, Dr. Fabian Fay, MD, Sylvester Alaman, a sawmill owner, and Pedro Ramayas, an oil broker. Cassandra asked to join. Men said she was welcome if she had something to gamble. Cassandra offered a deed to a silver mine in the American Rockies. Cassandra's contribution was accepted with contented murmurs. They dealt her in. Cassandra struck up a coquettish conversation while accidentally showing off her cards. Meanwhile, she cleanly observed her adversaries. Cassandra lost what she'd bet, but noted several tells for each of the 4 players. This knowledge could well come in handy during the big game. Alright, I think that was worthwhile. Head back to town. Cassandra's brushes with the law had been minor, it seemed. That's good. Alright, where else can we go? I guess we just have to gamble for the rest. She rattled the dice and exerted her mind to predict the outcome. Cassandra found it hard to sense the outcome of dice rolls. There were so many changes for each movement of the hand, but she got something out of it and won 246 pesos. Underhandedly, Cassandra won 359 pesos. Aided by her deception, Cassandra won 395 pesos. Am I gonna get caught? We're almost there. And there we go. One more.
Now that Cassandra had the necessary 25,000 pesos, she was ready to conquer La Fortuna's grand tournament.
Yeah, Devolver Digital puts on a hell of a show. Alright, and now we're heading into the reception hall. Cassandra and her companions arrived at the building where the poker soiree was to be held. The imposing building was made entirely out of cast iron and glass, a feat unparalleled in Mexico. They had some time to kill before the game started. Cassandra wandered the floor and sized up the other players while she waited for the tournament to begin. The room was filled with players from all corners of the land, tense with anticipation of the conflict to come. Finally, the cashier booth opened and the players began to fork over the cash necessary to register. There was still time for Cassandra to mingle with the guests. Cassandra asked her companions to wait and proceeded into the crowd. The soiree was first and foremost a social pageant, where the rich and famous could show off their opulence to their peers and rub their success in the faces of their competitors. Though everyone appeared friendly on the surface, the competitive tension in the hall was palpable. One of Cassandra's competitors left his drink unattended while he showed off his new pocket watch. Well, I happen to have a laxative that goes great with unattended drinks. Cassandra thought back to the bottle of laxative she'd obtained earlier. While crude and unfair, it would most certainly eliminate a player from the game before it had even started. The gentleman returned to his drink, downing it in a single swallow. His smile lasted a while, but ultimately faded to a terrified grimace. He excused himself and rushed away at a sprint. Cassandra smiled imperceptibly. Cassandra caught a glimpse of a middle-aged gentleman gazing at her with a cryptic smile. She returned the man's gaze and smiled back. A few minutes later, the man approached her, presenting himself as Jim Vaughn. He commended her on her competitive attitude, alluding to her underhanded activities in the reception room. Seeing her frown, he laughed and assured her he would not expose her. He said Cassandra reminded him of his younger self. He was looking forward to testing his skill against hers in the upcoming game. Cassandra thanked him with an expression of genuine camaraderie. Cassandra returned to enjoy the evening, taking note of everything and everyone she saw. This guy looks like a fucking tool. Cassandra eavesdropped on an argument between one of the contestants and a lady. A corpulent, sweaty man in a tall hat was arguing with his wife. She said he would again lose their fortune. All the while, he assured her that he had been working on his gambling skills. This seemed to enrage her further, and she launched into a tally of his various tells while he denied them all. It seemed Cassandra now knew what to look for. Cassandra has just submitted her 25,000 pesos when a slender Hispanic man in an impeccable tailcoat and top hat approached her with a grin. Cassandra guessed this must be Ricardo La Fortuna. As if reading her mind, he bowed and placed a gallant kiss on her gloved hand. La Fortuna presented himself and asked for Cassandra's name. She treated him to her Russian alias, Lydia Morozov. La Fortuna bowed lower still and wished Lydia good luck in the upcoming game. She curtsied before proceeding to the gambling table. Corpulent Tony, that's right. The first round of the game had 20 contestants divided among 4 tables. Among them was Jim Vaughn. Cassandra realized her table only had 4 players. One must be missing. Ha! She also noticed she'd been placed with the corpulent man whom she had seen arguing with his wife earlier. She was seated, and the rules were explained. The 2 winners from each table would meet for the second round, which would determine the grand champion of the gala and the owner of a rare piece of jewelry staked by Mr. La Fortuna himself. The chips were distributed, the cards were dealt, and the game began. Initially, the game was casual and easy. Cassandra singled out 2 candidates for elimination and deftly defeated them using her acute gambling skills. Only one man was left at her table, and she knew his tells, having overheard his argument with his wife. She read him like an open book. Soon he was dispatched as well. The croupier congratulated Cassandra, telling her he'd transfer her chips to the main table for the final round. There was an hour break between rounds 1 and 2. The tournament was in full swing. The losing tears were dried by cheerful senoritas and gallons of alcohol, while the winners gloated, prayed, and luxuriated in the lobby. Cassandra looked around, sizing up her competition. One of the finalists discreetly retreated to his room. Intrigued, Cassandra followed him. You know, I never thought I'd be excited about a narrative about a poker game, but this is doing it for me. This is so much better than that Daniel Craig movie. As they left the party atmosphere of the crowd, the gambler accelerated his pace, crossing the steel and glass corridors of the palace with unnatural haste. Then, when he entered the hotel wing, he disappeared. Cassandra looked helplessly around the halls of the hotel. There were 2 rows of identical doors, one on each wall of the hall. One, she noted, had light sitting just underneath it, sifting from just underneath it. As she approached it, she saw that it had been left slightly ajar. She peered through the opening, and to her surprise saw the man injecting himself with something from a syringe. Morphine. The gambler lay on the bed, oblivious to everything around him. He was in the full rapture of a morphine shot. Cassandra slipped inside the room and gave him another injection of an even stronger dose. She hesitated, wondering if her lack of experience administering drugs might spell this man's demise. I've come this far, she thought, emptying the syringe. He certainly didn't protest. Rather, he closed his eyes and fell asleep with a blissful smile. Cassandra left a gentle kiss on the sweaty forehead and left the room. Cassandra returned to enjoy the evening, all the while looking around carefully. Once the break was over, she proceeded to the table. The players sat down in the final round of La Fortuna's poker tournament. Along with Cassandra, 3 other men were still in the competition. One defaulted when he failed to arrive at the designated hour. The others were Jim Vaughn and Dr. Fabian Fay, both of whom she'd met in the Pueblo Casino. Names were exchanged, cards were dealt, and the game began. The stakes in the final game were much higher, and so was the skill of the participants. But as the game progressed, Cassandra's chip supply diminished until she was on the brink of bankruptcy. She needed a decisive move to improve her situation. She could target Fabian Fay, whose stash was the smallest, or Jim Vaughn, who had been doing extremely well thus far. At this point, his skill seemed unmatched. Knowing his skills from the Pueblo Casino, she decided to attack Dr. Fay. Dr. Fabian Fay never fully held his cards. He lifted them slightly off the table and peeked at them. Every so often, he would pick his fine mustache, but Cassandra quickly determined this was not a tell. Although the doctor kept his composure throughout the evening, Cassandra knew what she was looking for. If he held his breath, he was bluffing. From their earlier game in the Pueblo Casino, she knew just when to call and when to bluff. Before long, the doctor had no more chips on the table. He stood up, bowed, complimented each of the players, and thanked them for their worthy entertainment. He then strode off into the lobby to relax. What a good guy. What a nice fellow. To win the tournament, Cassandra still had one more opponent to defeat. She decided to tackle Jim Vaughn next. Jim Vaughn was a true master of the gambling table. Smart, funny, and courteous, he was impenetrable to conventional scrutiny. If Cassandra wanted to defeat him, she'd need to use her unique ability. Cassandra took a deep breath and tried something new, to smile and see the future at the same time. Letting her instincts guide her cards and her chips, Cassandra managed to outplay and defeat Jim Vaughn. He looked at her with admiration, then laughed out loud and thanked her for an amazing game. Cassandra vanquished her final opponent. She had won the tournament. Ricardo La Fortuna presented Cassandra with the grand prize, a beautiful piece of jewelry that was rumored to be a lucky charm. Cassandra accepted the prize with grace and humility. La Fortuna told Cassandra she was welcome to visit him in his residence any time. Cassandra promised she would come, then departed into the crowd. As Cassandra made to leave, Jim Vaughn approached her and offered to buy her a glass of port. She accepted. Oh, it's very much cheating. Mr. Vaughn was visibly delighted. He ordered drinks as he told Cassandra about his younger years with a refreshing bluntness. Vaughn had run away from home at a young age and wandered the West, finding no shortage of trouble and becoming an infamous gambler and duelist. One fateful day, however, he played against a powerful man, taking a fortune with him. From him. The man was furious, telling Vaughn to leave the country and renounce gambling, on pain of death. So wait, is Vaughn death? Because he looks kinda like death, but, you know, with a whole face. That's when Vaughn when Vaughn headed to Mexico. He had been miserable ever since. But when he had heard about the tournament, he decided he didn't care anymore. It was worth the risk to play again. What else was life for, after all? Cassandra asked what all that had to do with her. He looked at her wistfully. He told her that he saw his younger self in Cassandra. She had inspired him to take his guns off the hook and go looking for trouble again. If there was one person he loved to ride with, it was her. Cassandra accepted Vaughn's offer. Keep their numbers low, she asked Felicia to stay behind. Accepted Jim as Paco's replacement. Or... oh, fuck. I don't know enough about the character. I mean, Paco's pretty good. It's never made me pick between characters like this before. I thought your poker superpower was going all in just all the time. Let's see. I guess we'll leave Paco behind simply because he hasn't taken part in the story like at all. Paco has left. Vaughn has joined. Hacienda Rossetti, La Fortuna Residence, and the Fate Trader. I guess the Fate Trader moved. Alright, what do you have? He's got a stun bomb, got the quarter-pound pistol, and he's got a mammoth rifle. Hey, not bad, not bad. It's got a scope and everything. Tournament trophy. Regenerates luck in combat. I'm down for that. Light healing herbs. Cards. Let's see. Remove everyone's cards so I can think it out. Got a fairly decent number of cards now. Give someone a straight flush pretty easily. Actually give a royal flush. Unholy, ricochet. Yeah, let's no. Let's put a royal flush on Cassandra. Go. That's +3 max HP, which is damn nice for someone with low ass HP. Unholy power can go on Hayden. Wait, how much HP does... Okay, Hayden doesn't have a huge amount of HP. Alright. Diamonds. No, not 10 of diamonds. What am I doing? 9 of diamonds. 9 of clubs there. He's got 3 of a kind for the extra luck. Pair of queens for her because disguise and shadow cloak are both fucking excellent for her. And I guess the rest can go on Chungus number 2 here. I don't think there is a Steam Workshop for Hard West. Let me check. No, there's not. It's a shame, really. Alright, where are we headed now? Visit La Fortune. Well, let's go to Rossetti first, the Rossetti house. The Rossetti Hacienda was a lush residence with a beautiful garden surrounding it. The highlight of the hacienda was an amazing collection of firearms. Mr. Rossetti said he was willing to part with some of his specimens for the right price. Some extra cash would help him acquire even more interesting objects. Sandra was potentially interested in buying some items. So I guess I didn't get the money I put into the game back. I just got the trophy. We've got the Douglas Duster 18 shooter. I like the sound of that. 12 gauge defender. Mr. Rossetti. Yeah, if I turn off the game now without saving, he'll get really mad. None of this is really useful to me right now. There's been precious little combat in this campaign. Cassandra strolled over to Mr. La Fortuna's home. In contrast with the reception hall, the hacienda was quite modest. Cassandra and her companions were greeted politely by Mr. La Fortuna, who offered refreshments and small presents as a token of his appreciation. He and Cassandra had an amicable chat, discussing politics, art, and fashion, as well as Mr. La Fortuna's various undertakings. Cassandra was curious about his competition with the Protector. La Fortuna's expression became cautious as he explained that his relationship with the Protector had deteriorated over the past few months. He had finally resolved to help the Mexican Navy chase the undesirable man from their country. Cassandra suggested she could help if La Fortuna were interested. He asked what she had in mind. Cassandra said she had a talent for eliminating inconvenient characters from the Earth. Lying brazenly, she revealed that she was a successful contract assassin with many hits on her resume. If Mr. La Fortuna was taken aback by this news, he didn't show it. He merely smiled and responded that Cassandra's help wouldn't be required. He had a train loaded with mercenaries that was heading toward the coast at that very moment. They'd seize the island within hours. Cassandra nodded and wished him a swift victory.
La Fortuna's mercenary force had to be prevented from reaching the bay. Hardin suggested they blow up the train. Cassandra concurred. They just needed to procure the explosives.
Let's get that sleep in. And I think it is time for me to call the stream for the night. It's been a lot of fun. Thank you all for joining. If you're not following us, we do have a follow button that you are welcome to click on. It's very helpful to us and very helpful to you. So win-win. Let's look at the next week's schedule. Tomorrow, Christy will be playing Battle Royale games, including things like Realm Royale and PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, and maybe a game of Totally Realistic Battlegrounds, which is a totally realistic simulation game about combat. Tuesday, Andrea will be playing Paladins and Nier Automata. If you'd like to play Paladins with Andrea, you can drop us a DM. Good stuff. Wednesday is our community day, probably Jackbox. If you have suggestions for other games we can play with the community, please do tell. Jackbox is easy because no one has to buy anything new. Thursday is Alice. Hopefully she'll have a cooperative internet connection so she can actually play this time, because last week was very disappointing for her. She'll be doing the Adventure Time level pack and probably another level pack afterwards. Friday will be Katie playing Back to the Future the Game Episode 3, Citizen Brown. And I hope you'll be there for that. If you're a fan of Back to the Future, this is something you don't want to be without. It's very much an excellent sequel to the Back to the Future trilogy of movies. So once again, I've been Zoo. This has been Hard West, and we'll see you next time. Good night.